There was a calm certainty, a knowing of what to do. There was no time to worry about whether you were doing this right or wrong. It was direct action. Your intuition, no matter what or how dire the circumstances, your intuition will always be calm and knowing. Your mind, on the other hand, will throw in the kitchen sink. I've talked to some people who shared experiences with these accidents and whatnot. They made it through the experience, and other passengers in the car or companions didn't survive the situation. And these people knew exactly why they didn't survive, the passengers didn't survive, and they did. It was because they personally stayed right there in the moment, while the passenger was going, "Oh! No, I'm denying this is happening at all." They were in their mind. The survivor was in their intuition. That's how important this is. "9/11 is a big topic. 9/11, who survived, who didn't? The people who followed their intuition and went fishing that morning instead of to work survived. The people who got down out of the buildings when the first plane hit, and even including in the second tower, the people who got out of the buildings, followed their intuition, took a break, went home, they survived. The people who got out of the buildings then heard the all clear, and their boss reminding them that they had customers on the West Coast that they should be selling stuff to, and then got back in the elevators and went back up into the buildings, didn't survive. What was the difference? The guys that went back up in the building had a reason. They had reasons for going back in the building. I got to make my mortgage payment. You know, the kids got to go to summer school. They had reasons. I would get fired if I didn't go back. They had reasons, and they were in their mind rather than following their intuition. Just some examples. But this is going to become more and more critical as we go forward from here. More and more critical. Now, next problem. How do you find your intuition? And how do you keep it tuned in? Because, of course, we've all had the experience, right? We've all had the experience of our intuition. Usually, it's fleeting. It's a little thing, and then it goes away. And then it's clouded with all this doubt about, was that even my own thought? Or, you know, all that stuff, right? The mind just jumps right on you and, This mind thing is not your friend, friends. It's a parasitic, self-indulgent, self-preservation mechanism. It would rather be right than you be alive. The mind. You've probably had friends who denied that there was anything wrong with them because the mind said, that can't happen, that can't be there, nope. It's not right. It wouldn't go for treatment, let alone alternative treatment. And they're not here anymore. They were right until they actually kicked it. This is not a fairy tale. I mean, the mind would rather be right in a lot of people than be alive. So, getting a good grip on this thing is really important. And having this engaged really puts the mind in its place, where it becomes just a tool rather than an identity. So, How do you do that? Well, intuition is your own personal knowing. Right? And all knowing comes from a source. We don't have to give it a name even. It just comes from somewhere. And it comes in a flow, more or less. It's like there we go. We'll have this flow of creation. See, the source of this flow would necessarily be the source of all knowing, because all that happens is coming out, all that exists is coming this way. So, here we have your consciousness in this flow of event. Okay? Here we go. Like this. Oh boy, it's getting quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. Your consciousness is oriented by time and place. In this flow. Have you noticed that when you have an intuitive moment, it seems like time doesn't go by at all? Until way later and you go, wow, where'd all the time go? But for that time, you were just being there. In one moment, just like it was a flow. Okay? This is the schematic of how this works. When you're in your intuition, you're centered in that flow of information. The trick is to stay there. It's not so easy with everything that's going on and with your mind preying on you. But the Maya had two things on this side. One, things were going slower. But they had a couple of other orientations. We are oriented, our consciousness and our society is oriented by time and place. Time and place, time and place. Physical, 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 physical. The Maya had some more help. They had this orientation right here, which is called personal intent. One through 13. Have you ever been someplace you didn't really intend to be? Like at school, or at work, or the middle of an argument. Did you feel centered? Or did you feel uncentered? Did you feel centered, or were you like off-center? Okay, me too. When I was someplace I didn't really intend to be, I felt off-center. But these guys knew their personal intent. They had that orientation. So it was easier for them to recognize when they were doing what they intended to do with this lifetime. That would help to keep you centered, wouldn't it? If you felt like, right away, if you felt like that wasn't happening, you'd get back onto what you were supposed to do. Okay? They also had this orientation, this major orientation right here,